Today on the podcast, we are talking about why it's so important for you to have an audience. And I'm not talking about the kind of audience that comes to see you play. We'll see you on the inside. What's going on, everybody? How are you doing? Thank you for joining me today on the Songwriters Planner podcast. We are here with another week, another episode, and I'm very thankful for you guys swinging by. I really appreciate you checking out these podcasts. I can't say that enough. I always try to say that every week, and if it sounds like a broken record and you're here every week, thank you very much. If this is your first time here, thank you for swinging by. If you like what you hear, please feel free to subscribe if you are on my YouTube channel, or you can also catch these podcasts on Apple Music Podcasts, yes, Apple Music Podcasts, and Spotify as well. You can subscribe there, as well as check out this podcast on my website, songwritersplanner.com. Now, before I start today's podcast, I also wanted to give a shout out. It's a really special person. His name is Torio. He runs his own music advice website called musicmoveit.com. And he also has his own YouTube channel called Music Business Advice. If you go to YouTube and you search Music Business Advice, you will find Torio. And he's been putting out videos for years, giving musicians of all walks of life great advice on all kinds of subjects, way more things that I've even touched on. And I just wanted to give him a shout out. Please check out his channel. When you get a chance, there is a world of information that he divulges to musicians and artists alike, like myself. And please check him out. He's a great resource for artists and musicians. And yes, I wanted to give him a shout out. So thanks, Torio. So today's topic, I wanted to address the idea of an audience. Now, of course, I talk about this a lot, and I go online and my Facebook page, I have a lot of musicians from everywhere, mostly from here in Phoenix is where I'm based, Phoenix, Arizona. But I see this a lot in group forums and on websites of musicians and artists just kind of, I'm not going to say complaining, but airing their frustrations about why they can't get people to listen to their music, to stick around and either download their music, listen to it, sign up for the email list. They're frustrated and why they're not getting what you call traction. Okay, now this isn't. There are exceptions to the rule. There are artists that come along every now and then they're just so unexpected and so amazing and so talented, and they just come out and anything they do, people just gravitate to. And I understand that there are artists like that come out all the time. Well, I shouldn't say all the time. Doesn't happen very often, but there are some artists that come out and no matter what they do, they're going to get people to pay attention to them. Okay, but for the rest of us, which is 99% of us as artists and musicians, we have to work hard to build an audience. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. That is actually more the reality than it is the norm. You may have great songs, you may have a great look, you may have a great personality, you may have great connections, but it is still difficult to build up an audience. And especially now in the age of social media, the definition of audience has changed. It is not necessarily just the people that come to see you play live. That is a traditional audience. You play a show, people come out, they clap, they cheer, and you sign autographs, whatever you do. That is an audience. But the definition of an audience has also expanded to social media. And that is what we're talking about today. What does that mean? And why is it important to you? And how is it going to help you gain more people, get more ears on your music? With social media today, the reason why paying attention to your audience, not only the ones that come to your shows, but the ones that see you online are just as important, maybe even more important, because social media has a worldwide reach. So basically what an audience is today is people who you promote to online, people who you would engage with online, people who check you out online, to people that see you live in shows. If you're a musician, you actually go out and you play live, then that's your audience as well. But if you're going to be taken seriously as an artist and you're serious about growing your brand and growing your music, you need to look at the complete audience, not just the people that you see out and about at your shows, but you have to look at all the people that your music touches, and that means online. Now, growing an audience online is not the same as growing an audience in person. They are two different aspects of growing your brand. And I think with us us as musicians and artists, it is easy to make the mistake that the way you promote to people in person is the same way that you're going to promote to people online. And from my experience and from doing research and reading up on it and making mistakes myself, they are not the same thing. And I think that's where the frustration kicks in for a lot of us musicians, is that we promote, and then we do the same tactics that we use when we promote in person or live to the same people online. Now, and you're frustrated because you're not getting the kind of results that you hope you would get from all the promoting you do online. You know, oh my God, I posted about my show like 20 times in the past 2 days. Why was nobody there? That is a reality, and it's because you're promoting the same way to people online that you do when you are going to play a show. Like if you put a flyer up in a club, if you use your Facebook feed and your Facebook and all your social media as just a flyering pole, you're not going to get the same results as if you really dig in and do something different. Okay? Remember that, because that's the best way I can describe it, is that your Facebook feed is much more than just a place where you're going to slap flyers. People need more. People see flyers all the time online. They see flyers from everybody, especially if there's someone that loves music. They're not going to see only just your flyer, but they're going to see flyers from other bands, and you're not necessarily going to see that because you don't have access to their news feed. So in the way that you're going to build an audience is completely different than when you're promoting yourself to the people who are coming to your shows, or you're putting up flyers at a club, or God even knows, a telephone pole, whatever it is that you're doing. And it's important to understand this concept, because that is going to give you perspective on how to promote in this new age of social media. And it's not the way that you think it is, and that you're going to post flyer after flyer after flyer and ask people to come out to my show, come out to my show, come out to my show. That, after a while, you become an advertisement to them. You just become another ad, no matter how much they love you. It could be the people that love your music. You're always going to have your core followers, your friends, your family, some people that have been following you since day one. Every artist who's serious and who grinds is going to have a core following, and that is a good thing to have. But if you want to grow, if you want to get more people involved with the music, you have to implement and you have to accept newer strategies that work better for online, because that's where the bulk of your audience can be. Now, if you have a great live following, that is awesome. That's amazing, good for you. Keep doing it. But you have to also work at it online, because if you don't know how to do that, A, you're going to have to pay somebody to do it for you, because every artist needs to promote online if they're going to get anywhere. Or B, you're not going to have that. You're going to be missing out on that whole social media following that you could be growing at the same time as your live audience, which will then come together at some point. Okay, so stick with me here. I know this may be a little weird to understand, because we're all used to promoting online and putting our flyers up, which there's nothing wrong with. I'll say that now. There's nothing wrong. But if you want to grow in a real audience, you need to engage with this audience. And now what is this? What does it mean to have an audience online? What does that mean? I mean, we all know what it means to have an audience when you play shows. But what is an audience in the internet world? Well, the audience of the internet world is far more powerful than the audience who is at your show. Why? Because the reach is farther, because you have the opportunity to engage with these people, because you can talk with them, you can share with them. And not only that, but you have access to these people online 24/7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. When you have an audience at your shows, you only engage with them while you're at your show. Okay, and there's nothing wrong with that either. But an audience online, the one that you should be focusing your attention on, is there always. And everybody has a phone. Everybody checks their social media multiple times a day. That's how you reach these people. And that's why we should be putting a lot of work and knowledge and efforts into growing this online social media. Because if you have a good following on social media, a solid, engaged audience, I guarantee you that it will affect your live shows when it's time to play live, or when it's time to put something out online, or when it's time to put out some new merch. If you have put in the work to build an audience online, it will flow over into other things when it's actually time to implement your music or implement your shows. If all you do is implement your shows and put out music and expect people to find it and like you and grow that way, it's not going to be as effective as if you concentrate on building an audience around your music. Now, here's where I'm going to substitute the word music for brand, okay? Here's where you build an audience around your brand. Now, actual branding, I will save for another podcast, probably the next one. We'll talk about branding another time. But as far as building an audience, what does that mean? When you build an audience online, you're not just promoting yourself. You're not just putting yourself out there. You're not just saying, here's my new single, listen to it, okay? The people that see that, if they don't know who you are, if someone shares your post and they share it to their friends and none of those people know who you are, they're not gonna care about who you are and what your music is. Why? Because they don't know you. Yeah, you might get some that might click on it out of curiosity, listen to it, maybe like it, and if that's the case, and if they look further into you, great. But I'm telling you right now, the chances of that happening are very slim. As much as we like to believe as artists that happens all the time, it doesn't, okay? People don't care about your music. People who don't know you don't care about your music. Now, what's gonna change that, okay? To build an audience online, this is really important. To build an audience online, to relate to people, to get people interested in who you are, what you are, okay? It's not about you and it's not about your music, okay? Now, let that sink in for a second. Understand that, yes, you may be an amazing artist, you may have a great song, you may have a great album, but for people who don't know you, who don't even take a chance to listen to you, it's not gonna be about you. It's gonna be about something that you have in common with someone who you don't know, okay? It's gonna be something that you have in common with your target demographic person. Your person who fits all of the qualifications who would like your music, what they call your avatar. And this is someone who's your ideal customer, your target person, okay? Age ranges between, if you're a younger artist, between 20 and 29, and who likes funk, and you play funk, who likes hip hop, and you like hip hop, and you play hip hop. Basically diving down and finding your target audience, posting content online that you have in common with your target audience. That is what's going to get a hook out there and give you the best chances to find someone to be interested in what you're doing. And it's not going to start with, hey, check out my new single. Most likely that's not what is going to pull someone in. But let's say you are into hiking, okay? For some example, you're an artist and you're into hiking and you wrote a song about hiking. Post a funny hiking meme and something that has nothing to do with your music. Just post it out there. You know what? Someone who likes hiking may look at that and go, oh, that's funny. And then look who posted it and your name is on there and they go, oh, who's this? Who's this? That's funny. They click on your link, boom, they're on your Facebook page and here you are. Hey, I'm an artist, I got music. This is the connection that artists today must make to find new fans, to build an audience, okay? Now, that is just one very small example, and you can take that in a ton of creative directions on how to find new audiences. But this is the concept that will help you find new fans. It's not necessarily going to be about your amazing song, your amazing album, or anything like that. It's going to be in many other ways. Content, storytelling, it's going to be in sharing interests, it's going to be with engaging with people, it's going to be in many different ways. And I think that's where we fall down as artists and musicians, in making that transition from promoting to people online as if they were a flyering pole, as if your Facebook feed was just a pole that you put flyers on. That's not going to work. It's not going to be as effective unless you use social media and you use the ways that people engage online to promote yourself. I hope that makes a little bit of sense, because it's kind of a shift in thinking and promoting. And if you're like me, you do all your own promotion. You are your promoting department, and that is probably the most of us anyway. So think about that. Think about promoting in that sense, and not necessarily being about, hey, look at my new thing, my new shiny object. If you promote like this, if you continue to promote like that, you're going to separate yourself from all the other artists that, as I said, use their social media as just a flaring pole. You will begin to separate yourself, and people will start to take notice and start to realize, wow, you're not just out here trying to sell your music to me. You're actually someone who I can relate to because of this or because of that. And because you're constantly on top of mind, you're posting things that are interesting to people and making it funny and interesting, and then here's your song, and then you post more funny, interesting stuff, and then things that may catch other people's eye that tell your story or connect with other people because you have similarities in some certain way. Okay, people who don't know you, people who've never heard of you, don't have the similarity of knowing your song. They don't know your song. So unless it is completely in their newsfeed 24 hours a day, every third swipe, they're not going to care about what is out there unless you post something that they can relate to, and that a story or something that gets them emotionally or makes them laugh or tells, like I keep going back to telling a story. What you want to do is with an audience. Now that you're building an audience, okay, you're slowly testing the waters and you're finding what works. Your audience is picking up. People start to like your music. They start to take notice, right? What does that mean? Now what that means is that you have a small group of people who are paying attention to you, okay? And getting people's attention is what it's all about on the internet. It's what it's all about in promotion. It's what it's all about social media. It's what it's all about in the new promotional industry. Having people's attention. If you have people's attention, if you have an audience that pays attention when you say something, now you're in a boat where you can slowly start to promote your music in a way that enriches your social media connection with these people, okay? Again, it's not about just you and your music. It's going to be about the connection you have with people and the engagement you have with them. And your music and you as an artist, you have to give them time to accept that and to like you and to check it out. Because you know what? Someone may just like who you are as a person and the stuff that you post online, but then they listen to your music like, I'm not that big of a fan of your music, but man, you know what? I'm still going to check out your online, your social media presence because I enjoy it. It's personal to me. That's still an audience. You have people that pay attention to you. The reason why musicians and artists and bands get frustrated because when they put out a new album, when they put out merch, when they put out their single, they get frustrated. It's like nobody's listening to it. You know why? Because you don't have an audience. Nobody cares. No one's perking up when you put something out. And when I say no one, I don't mean your core following. I mean, the people that your close friends, your family, your girlfriends, boyfriends, they're always gonna listen to you. They support you. But I'm talking about an audience, people that don't know who you are, have no connection to you. If you have an audience of people that do have a connection to you and that they may not even know you personally, but when you put out something, they pay attention, that's an audience. And that's what you want to build as a musician, as a band. And that audience building takes time and it takes work to do because you have to be on it every day. You have to be building your brand. You have to be building a connection with people every day. Find out what works and what doesn't work. Engaging with people who post comments on your Facebook page. If you're lucky enough to get a great comment, respond back. Thanks for that comment. I really appreciate it. Post a funny GIF. If you post something and people do likes on it and they say something, engage with them. Show them that you're here, you're listening to them. And be consistent with it. Be consistent with it every day. Post something every day and don't post something about your music every day. Post something every day that you think your target audience will connect with. You like wine? You wrote a song about wine? Post something about wine, and people who like wine may take notice, okay? You see where this connection is going. It's not necessarily about you. I could go on and on about this subject, as you can see, but it is all about building this brand, making this audience a new audience attached to your brand. And these things don't happen overnight. It's going to take time, it's going to take work, and it's going to take you to figure out what works for you. It's not going to necessarily work. What works for you is going to work for someone else. There is no blanket blueprint exactly of how these social media promotion works and how you build an audience. Now, I will go back to what I said earlier. If you can figure out this formula for you only and your music, if you can figure out your your perfect avatar, your perfect target customer, if you can figure out what to post, if you can figure out what kind of content to put out there, how to engage with everybody, how to be active on social media, how to be a live and breathing artist that can connect with people online, you can build that audience. I guarantee you it will translate over to your live shows, to your real life, to your merchandising, to your album dropping, to your single dropping, as long as you don't inundate people with just that. Okay? As long as you don't just inundate people with look at me, look at me, look at me. Make it about them. Make it about them, make it about them, and then make it about you, and then go back to making it about them. It's a very specific formula that isn't going to work specifically the same way for everybody, but that is the general concept. Okay? Make your interest and everything, make it about them first. Get them interested. Make them laugh. Make them tune in. And then make it about you, and then go back to making it about them. That's what's going to make your audience stick around and going to grow and going to get bigger and get more interested in what you have going on. Okay, guys, it's not going to be always about check out my latest song. And I hate to say that all the time. I keep saying that, but that's how important it is. And I felt was a really important podcast to talk about today. And I will go into branding. I think that'll be my next podcast. What is a brand? But they goes hand in hand with what I'm talking about today in the sense of building an audience and how do you do that. So I will definitely talk about this again. And I hope you guys get value out of this podcast. And I hope I made some sense. And I hope that it kind of helps you change your thinking about how you should be promoting to people online and how you would want to be promoted to if you didn't know an artist. Think about how you would respond to someone if they promoted to you in a way of, here's my new album, here's my single, go listen to it, do me a favor. I don't know you, I'm not going to do you a favor. Or if someone approached it differently and said, hey, here's a funny meme about basketball. You like basketball? Well, I just wrote a song about basketball. And here's another one about basketball. That's just an example, but it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of trial and error by you, but it's your music. What else are you going to do? It's worth it. Your music deserves it. If you really want to do this, then you got to find the best way to promote your music. And for social media, for growing an audience, that is the most effective way. All right, guys. I think I spoke a little too long on this one, but as you can see, we will do another one about branding, about building an audience. It's so important, and I hope you guys got some value out of this. So till the next podcast, I will see you. My name is Mike. Peace out.